In order to be successful, we're going to have to know how to ask for what we want. So, do you think that if you were to ask people in your life all the time for what you actually wanted, that you would get it? Well, there was a study done in New York where participants were asked to go around asking random strangers to fill out a survey. And now, before they sent these people out, they said, well, why don't you guys guess how many people will actually do what you're asking them to do? And everyone had a guess to how many people. And some people thought, well, yeah, maybe if I ask like 10 people, I can get one person to fill out this survey. Other people thought it was way worse. Maybe I'm going to have to ask 15 to 20 people and to get one person to fill out this survey. Some people were more optimistic. I think 1 in every 5 people will probably fill out the survey. And so the people went off. And they went out. They're on a university campus. And they just walked up to random strangers and asked, would you fill out this survey? And do you know what the results were? 1 in every 2 people they asked to fill out the survey said yes. Most people have an assumption that most people will say no to them if they were to ask. And that's how these participants felt. Most people thought they would have to ask 5 or 10 people to get one person to say yes. And it turned out you only needed to ask 2. The results were 1 in every 2 people would say yes to filling out the survey, to doing whatever the random task was, because they went back and they retried it with talking on the phone. And they said, hey, what if we ask people to use their cell phone? How many people would you have to ask to get one person to let you use their cell phone? Most people thought, man, probably 10, 15. Turned out you only needed to ask 3 people. And 1 out of every 3 people will let you use their cell phone and make a phone call. Isn't that amazing? It's very interesting when we put together and actually realize the reality of life, because we have a bias, and our bias is designed to think, to believe that most people will say no. And to get what we want is going to be harder than it would seem. Because if you were to ask people to help you, they would say no. And if you were to ask people for specifically what you needed from them, they would say no. But where does this bias come from? Well, our background. You see, when we were children, we asked our caregivers for what we needed or what we wanted. And some of us had oppressive, egocentric caregivers. An egocentric caregiver is a caregiver that's all about me and my feelings. And so therefore, when you came and you asked for something, at a certain point, poof, you got hit down for even daring to ask them. And what did that teach you? Well, I shouldn't ask for what I want. And the more you would get hit down, the more you would conclude that you should not represent your own needs. You should not make an ask. You should not petition for what you need and want in life, because you will get hurt. So it's better just to suffer in silence. It's better just to keep to yourself. And so you become a ego deficient person in order to exist with an egocentric person living in your household. Well, an egocentric person is someone who's all about themselves. So an ego deficient person is someone who's all about anything but themselves. An ego deficient person has learned that in order to survive, they should just give, and give some more, to the depletion of one's own self. An egocentric person will add to themselves and give to themselves to the depletion of others. An ego deficient person will give of themselves to their own deficiency. And so you became, and you went out into the world, and you found also that there were some harsh conditions out there as well. And you were afraid that if you were to ask, if you were to burden someone with your requests for your petty needs, you may get hit down as a result of your self-centered thinking. But is that actually the case? Well, you probably find it surprising to know that 1 in 2 people would be happy to fill out a survey if you were to ask them. The reality of life is that it's not exactly as the way you were raised. And even if you were raised in a household where a parent mostly said yes, your subconscious bias is to believe that it would mostly be a no because the no's are what you remember. Because of the negative experience of receiving rejection, we tend to remember the no's, and this makes us live small. So we become afraid to start our own business. We become afraid to ask for a promotion. We become afraid to get and advocate for what we need in life. To just say, hey, I need a little bit more elbow room on this couch. Whatever the situation, it becomes difficult for us. Why? Because we've learned in life to live small and to keep our mouth shut. But is that the code to success? Well, I'll let you guess on that. The reality is that life is a negotiation. Life is a negotiation. And you can't get a yes if you don't ask for a yes. There was a man who would go into a diner every single day. He would say the same thing when someone asked him, hey, how are you doing today? He would always say, I'm doing good, but I'd be better if I had $100. And that was the same dad joke he would crack every single time he went into the diner. I'm good, but I'd be doing better if I got $100. What do you think happened? Well, you might be surprised to know he made $500 over the years of just saying repeatedly to people, I'm good, but I'd be better if I had $100. 5 times someone gave him $100. Sometimes they were tired of hearing him say it. Sometimes they thought it was funny and they just decided, hey, I got the extra money. Just for the kick of it, I'm just going to give the guy $100. Whatever the case, $500 was made as a result of just asking for what he wanted. What about yourself? Are you afraid to negotiate, to ask for what you want? The principles of negotiation are essentially this. You need to walk into any situation in life, to any negotiation, and recognize that it is your responsibility to advocate for your needs and wants. That's number 1. Number 2, you need to recognize that everyone can win. Those are the 2 principles of negotiation. You can become an amazing negotiator if you just master those 2 principles. Number 1, that you recognize it is your responsibility to advocate for your needs in life. Number 2, to recognize that everyone can win. You both can win. We all can win. In this scenario, the objective is to find how is that possible. A negotiation is to figure out how can you get what you want and I get what I want at the same time? How can we both benefit from whatever the agreement is we come to? Negotiations are all about coming to agreements. Now, usually what we tend to do is when we get a no, we say, okay, thank you very much. I'm so sorry for asking. And then we leave. But someone who understands that life is a negotiation never takes no for an answer, so to speak. They never accept the no as being absolute. Instead, they recognize a simple truth. And that is that anytime someone says no, in reality, it's like they're really saying, try again. You picture, have you ever seen The Notebook? Remember how persistent the gentleman is to get the young lady's affection, to get her to commit to a relationship? And she's, oh, no, my dad, you don't understand, my dad, I can't. He's like, why? Why can't you? He's persistent. Persistence pays off in the end. That's law of attrition. The law of attrition states that you will wear the enemy down utilizing persistence. You just have to keep going and going. And that is the most scientific and highest chance that you will get success in any situation by applying the law of attrition to continually wear down the enemy through persistence. That's how Jack Ma did it. Because he applied at KFC and he got denied. And he applied at Harvard to go to college and he got denied 10 times. And he applied to be a police officer and he got denied. He didn't know what he wanted to do after that because all of his dreams, everybody's saying no and anything he wanted to do. So he started his own business on the internet selling stuff like eBay. And then his company became Alibaba.com. He goes on to be one of the richest men in the world. He just took the no's as, sorry, try again. We have to get out of thinking that all of these no's are absolute, because thinking that no's are absolute is extreme thinking. To be a good negotiator, you have to give up extreme thinking. You have to get away from, oh, it's black and white, it's yes or no. And you have to get into the gray area of recognizing, how many times am I going to have to ask to get this yes? Everybody's got a price, so to speak. What is it going to take to get what it is I need, what it is I want? Because it is not just my ability, it is my responsibility to advocate for my needs and my wants. What is it going to take? That's the question. Not, oh, well, I asked, I tried. Okay, good. That was a part of the process. Right? That's what Jan Coombs understood. It's a part of the process to get the no's. Right? The guy who started Starbucks, his wife is pregnant. He's got this idea for the coffee shop, and he goes to the bank and he gets a no, and he goes to the next bank and he gets another no, and he goes to the next bank and he gets another no. 200 times the man got a no. 242 times to be exact. The man gets a no from 242 banks. His wife is pregnant. But he didn't take the no as, I'm sorry, you don't get to achieve your dreams, and he just walked away. He took the no as, try again. 242 times. And now look. He eventually got a yeah. It was from a dentist or something, and they gave him a loan. He took that money, started Starbucks. Persistence. Law of attrition. You have to continually persist and work and show determination to get success in life. What is it that you want? What have you already given up on? What have you actually come to believe you cannot achieve as a result of not applying the law of attrition, of not being persistent? Understand that life is a negotiation. So you go in and you apply the principles of negotiation. It is my job to advocate for myself, and everyone can win. If you happen to be one of these ego deficient people, then you've learned, hey, we can't all win. In order for me to survive, I have to give of myself and make sure the other person wins. As a result of your oppressive caregivers. That's what you learn. All of us have oppressors in life. This life is full of oppressors. You get out of the house with your mom and dad, and you're going to find oppressors in the workplace, oppressors in the government. But we should not give in to the thinking that the only way to survive is to deplete the self and to take the loss so that everyone else can win and then just go home and cry. No. We want to be like Jan Coombs, who when he applied at Facebook and it's going well, and he's thinking, man, this is going great. And he gets invited in for that final interview. And he's like, oh yes, I'm going to get my dream job here at Facebook. This is what I've always wanted to do as a computer programmer. And he goes in for that interview and he gives it his all. He goes home thinking it's going to be good. And he gets the phone call. I'm sorry. No. You have not been hired at Facebook. Jan Coombs didn't say, well, that's my life. that's it. Guess I can't go on to be successful. No. He understood the no just meant try again. Try again. So what did he do? Well, he got to work on his own program. I mean, it wasn't as grand as Facebook. It was just a messaging program. And he called it WhatsApp. And you just send messages to people via internet. And then you can send messages to anyone in the world virtually for free. And guess what? Facebook went and acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion. You can't make this stuff up. $19 billion. The same company he applied to work at, they weren't going to pay him that much. The no is almost a favor sometimes. Because as you go back and you renegotiate, sometimes you can put yourself in an even better position than what you were originally going for. So don't take the no as being absolute. Take it as a try again. Change something, go back, work on it, try it again. Be persistent for what you want and what you need. Advocate for yourself, for your children. Be persistent. In life, you're in a constant balance between patience and persistence. Because some situations you need to sit back, lean on your heels, you need to wait. In other situations, you need to go forward like a bull and you need to work. You just have to identify, you just have to have the wisdom, the discernment to know which is which. Is this a situation where I need to wait and be patient? Or is this a situation where I need to work and be persistent? Every situation is one or the other. You either need to be patient or you need to be persistent. So when you have a problem, ask yourself, is this a situation where I need to chill right now and be patient? Because I got to wait for a degree to come in the mail, a certification to come through, the law to change, someone to get back to me. Am I in a waiting pattern, a holding pattern here? Or is this something where I just need to apply more persistence because I've already gotten to know? I just need to go back and rework the cookbook, the recipe, go back to the drawing board and come again from another angle. Persistence pays. Persistence pays. Many of the people who did the study where they were going in asking people to fill out surveys, they did another study to see if you go back to people who said no to you the first time, what are the chances that they're going to say yes to you the second time when you go back? Most people thought, well, if they already said no to you, they're probably really just going to be mad that you even came back. The reality was that 1 in 3 people who said no to you the first time will say yes to you the second time. Why? Maybe it's just a different timing, the change in circumstances. You're just hitting them at a different moment from a different angle. But recognize the potential and persistence. So where are you right now in your life? Is this a time to be patient? Or is this a time to be persistent and to move forward? What is your situation? What type of person did you end up being? Are you someone who's ego deficient? It's important for us to have accomplishments that we can look at. And we gain accomplishments by taking risks. So take small risks in your life. As you move forward, just ask. Ask for discounts when you go and buy your coffee. When you buy anything, say, is there a coupon? Is there a discount? One guy went around. He just started asking if he could get 10% off every single thing he bought. He saved thousands of dollars. Everything he bought, if it was a cup of coffee or if it was a large purchase item, he always just asked